Welcome to the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast. We're your hosts, Ra, Emily, and Christine. We're three women who have built and run our own businesses, and we're here to shoot the shit on everything about women in business and running our own businesses.
Yoo-hoo.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How you
Hey,
feeling? Bit fancy today in
Oh,
a
very,
new
very
studio.
fancy.
I'm feeling incredibly
Look at us
fancy in
go.
a comfy
It's a level of fancy I'm not
lounge.
sure I'm comfortable with.
I feel like I need to take my shoes off and fold into this lounge
It's
chair
very
as I
nice.
would
I'm also
normally
missing
do.
hearing my voice in my head.
Sure. It's a bit different now, Darls. We're hitting the big time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
how
I'm
the
feeling
professionals do
really,
it.
really like I have my big girl pants.
I know.
on right
Ra, can you
now.
tell everyone where we are?
Yes, we are at DM Podcasts in the studio in Wolloomooloo, which lots of my favourite podcasts get recorded here. So this is very fucking cool.
This
Very
is
special.
incredibly
Yes.
cool.
Be
And
sure
for
to check the
anyone-
video on YouTube
Oh, my
because this
God,
one's going to go
yes.
on YouTube.
And
It's
anyone
being done
who's
professionally.
listening right now, we have a full-on rainbow
Yeah.
behind us.
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
so
We've got
cool.
the lights, there's
Yes.
cameras. Yeah,
It's
Absolutely.
Very fucking
like
cool.
next level
very fucking
to
cool.
the point where this will be an interesting conversation
Yes,
because we're so
exactly.
out of sorts.
Yeah.
Because it's so professional. It's
Ah.
ridiculous.
But before we go any further, ladies, who the fuck are you?
Chris is taking a selfie, which is hilarious that it's not me for once.
Yeah, it's
So
usually
I could kick that one off.
it's time
um,
for someone to reference the one-stop shop.
Well, you already did, so we're good. As she said. I am Emily, and you've all heard if you're listening, and who we are. We're Juniper Road, one half of Juniper Road. Chris is my other half.
Woohoo, hello.
We are operational supports. Let me say that again because I was trying. What the fuck are we?
You're making my job harder, dude.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We are operational support services. So we can help with anything from marketing, digital marketing, human resources, finance. Ra's taking a selfie of me, and I look really big about it.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
And everything. I'm gonna get Chris to go in now because I suck at this. This is so bad.
One-stop shop. That's all you need to say.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say,
Oh,
Rob.
sorry.
But you
Oh,
just stole my
no.
thunder. We're a one-stop shop.
Yes. Like Lube and Bill, but for businesses.
Oh my God. I think we've just got our new tagline.
Mobile. Wasn't there a
Oh,
song about
NRMA,
that?
like roadside assistance.
Absolutely.
Do
Rob,
Yes.
who the hell are you?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Who
Today.
are you?
CSI.
Yes, now she knows. Well, so you're going to keep thinking it's CSI, even though we have categorically told you.
It's not.
Yes. Yeah, I'm me. I am my own business name and I do digital marketing and systems and websites and drink
All the
alcohol.
things.
It sounds like we're knocking over alcohol.
It does.
Yes.
I think we need some
Um,
later.
Yes.
Mm.
Social media. I do podcast editing and I take lots of selfies with Em because that's what she's in the process of doing.
It's all about the gram, yo.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I work exclusively with women in business because women need all the support they can get.
Oh, God. Don't they just?
They do. They do.
Yes.
So, what are we talking about today, ladies? Got a nice, easy topic today, haven't we? Nice and light.
Absolutely.
Mental
Let's keep it
health,
light.
Keep it
baby.
light, ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mental health.
Yes,
Yes.
we're going to have a little bit of chat about mental health. You know, it's pretty important. It's pretty, oh God, I was going to say on trend, but that sounds absolutely inappropriate, really. It's in the
Yes.
now. You know, it's very important that we all take care of our mental health, both in the workplace, in your business, in your personal life. And, you know, there's September's bringing up a couple of opportunities to be really thinking about mental health for yourself and for those around you. So, yeah, that's what we thought we would have a little bit of a
Yeah.
chat. So, yes, just a little bit of light discussion
Yes, keep
Just
it
the light
yes,
on
nice
a
and
really
light.
important important topic is probably what the word I was
Yes.
actually looking for.
Okay, yeah, good. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let it that into
Thank
the
you.
beginning. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But also
Yes.
because we operate in very small or micro businesses or solo,
Yes.
that's something that can be very difficult to maintain.
Yes, it's the nature of the world of which we come, and
Mm.
the contracting, consulting, virtual assistant, remote world is very isolated and very, we all felt it during COVID that we were all stuck, especially those of us in Sydney and probably the poor Melbourners that had more
Yeah.
lockdowns than they did freedom. Well, you get stuck at home and you get very isolated and alone. And it really detrimentally affects your mental health.
It sure does. There's something really good to say about the old water cooler conversation and check in with a colleague.
Yeah.
I mean, our workspace where we are in Thrive Spot doesn't have a water cooler per se, but it's got a kitchenette. So that's, that's the new water cooler. And so you can potentially come across some people, not all the time. But yes, when you're at home and if you're lucky and you've got the cat or the dog to talk to.
Hashtag morale officer.
Absolutely. The doctor of wellbeing or the director of wellbeing, for which Hurley is known in my home. Important stuff, but it's not the same, obviously. So, there's steps that need to be taken.
They can't talk back and go, yes, they were an absolute bastard today.
No, I know.
That guy, that client.
Yeah. And really, sometimes these directors of wellbeing in our offices, kind of like a little bit selfish. So, we need to take steps to put that aside.
Yeah.
And, and take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think this will be coming up in an episode we've got planned down the track, hashtag teaser, of the community, especially when you're working.
The importance of community.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Really
to replace that water cooler sort of element.
Yeah.
But what do you guys do to keep your shit together mentally?
There's a lot of things, and I think, self-care comes into that a little bit as well, which is also going to be another episode. But, I think the big part for Chris and I was having our own office space. We prioritize that this year as our business goal, to have our own space where we could work together in.
Yeah.
Even though we're not particularly far located from one another, we would catch up over the internet a lot. But then we kept finding that every time we were physically in person for an event or a networking event or whatever it might be, we were trying to jam too much into one session because there was just so many ideas that were popping up. And when you've had time to think about things and whatever, so we'd have a car drive down. I remember beginning of this year, we were driving down from Newcastle and we completely changed the orientation of how we wanted to market our business. Yeah. And it was like we needed to have more time in which we can collaborate properly. So that was important for us, and also from an efficiency perspective too, but it means that we're more connected and not just sitting alone at home.
Yeah.
I know Chris and I both haven't had the most supportive group of people around us when it comes to running our own business.
Yeah. And
that is really hard when you're living and breathing it in your home.
Yeah.
And trying to push through that, and it's the mental game that plays on you when this is your blood, sweat and tears and everything you've got going into something that you're trying to make work. Have someone stand there and be like, well, just shut your business down.
Yeah.
Just don't bother with it. Just what do you just go get a real job?
And the number of times I've said, fuck those people.
It's like,
but you can't.
Absolutely.
But even people who you might be surrounded by who fully support you, they might not necessarily fully understand where you're trying to go with it.
And it's also people's other experiences that they might have had that aren't great, that they're pushing on you. Like they might have had a business that hasn't succeeded, or they had to close it down, or they couldn't get it past the point of profitability, and they've decided, well, if I couldn't do it, therefore you can't do it. And without even consciously being aware that they've made that connection in their mind, and then gone, oh, well, just don't bother with it, you know? But it's the and being unaware that how damaging those kinds of comments can be to people.
And so it's working out, what is your self-talk around that.
Oof.
To then put a
I call that my inner
up.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because it's always negative.
Yeah.
And for Chris and I, having the office space means that we don't have to sit in it. We can go, we feel both so much more empowered being together and coming up with plans and having the execution go through. Like it's a safe space for us both to be and kind of go, we're fucking on it. Like this is what we're supposed to be doing. Like we know what we're doing, and we are, we, especially when you hit a rough patch, because businesses come with rough patches.
So many rough patches.
Clients come and go, and we have one of our clients take a big hit, which then has, had the ricochet effect of hitting us. And it's that whole piece of, it's okay. Like we've got this. You can do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's better when we were in the office yesterday when we got an email. But I feel like it hits a bit different when we're in the office together.
Oh, it certainly does. And so I really feel for, we're really lucky we're a duo, really fortunate. So
Yeah.
we do keep each other pumped up and motivated. And it might be my turn today to keep Em up.
Oh, and we
and,
have
you
bad
know,
days,
and
for
then
sure.
you know, Monday it'll be her turn to pump me up, and
Yep.
vice versa and stuff. So yeah, so we are very fortunate, and we recognise that. But like for yourself, Ra, you are Ra.
I am me.
And
I am my whole
and
business.
you
How do you
are
do
your
it on
whole
your own?
business, and you're doing this, you know, when we're not around.
Yes.
You're doing this on your own. So
Yeah.
what's one of the things that you do to keep you sane, and keep you not feeling, you know, so alone? I mean, because it can be very
Yeah.
depressing.
Oh yeah. It's a mix of things.
You go to a lot of different workspaces. that
Yeah, I've been trialing different co-working spaces. Still
Yeah.
have the fantasy of the BHAG of having my own.
Yep.
But yeah, sort of being around other people. So in lieu of having you guys to hang out with,
Yeah.
as much as I try and hang out with you guys, but also, I think I have my. What's the right way of saying it? I can't.
Don't say it the right way.
Yeah, okay, fuck it. I'm saying it the wrong way. I've got a massive ego. So
Yeah.
I know that I'm good at what I do.
Yes.
I love that
And-
about you, though.
Yeah.
It's the best part.
You know, and I'm, to quote Hamilton, I am sensible enough of my own defects, which I realize is not actually just Hamilton, but anyway. But
Hashtag Hamilton.
yeah, hashtag Hamilton. Hashtag back in Sydney. But I have enough self-confidence in myself that I've got the skills. So if there's anything to do with my skills, sure, they take hits, absolutely. Like client relationships have fallen through, and it was a, you know, bit my fault, you know, and then so I wallow in that. And you know, in those cases, I find sort of doing sort of more journaling type things.
Yep.
In my iPad, because I don't have a remarkable. Well, I do, but I'm not using it. I'm using my iPad.
Sacrilege.
Yes.
Sacrilege.
I know, I've jumped ship. However, my iPad does do autocorrect in my own handwriting now.
No.
I've trained it, and
Wow.
it finishes my words for me. I was showing it off this morning.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I will show you after the recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find in lieu of having a colleague, I
Yep.
turn one of my notebooks in my iPad into a journal.
Fab. Yep.
And that's something that I've really started doing in the last couple of months since, which is another factor of another way that it's helping. Another way I'm helping myself is I have a mindset coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mel and I have been working together for 2 or 3 months now, and it's a 12-month plan. And even like the last time we catch up about fortnightly at the moment. And already she's just like, you realize the shit you've done since we started working together?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it's like I had a bit of a weep because, you know, it was just like a realization of things that when we first started working together, the conference that we're putting on hadn't really been formed. It was like the early idea, you know, and now look at us. Like we've got people coming, we've got venues, you know, we've got the plans for the selfie
real.
wall. It's real, baby.
It is, absolutely.
And having that sort of it's like a running buddy, you know, it's like these running groups that everyone's into now.
Yeah.
But having someone who's running alongside me.
Absolutely.
There's
And
a lot of people that have a biz buddy.
Yeah. And so like, but also I've got you guys, like since meeting you guys on that fateful day in Chatswood last year.
Yes.
Yeah, has been a game changer.
Yeah.
And there are other people who I've met through other networks.
Yep.
So
And the power of networking.
exactly.
Which we'll
Again,
talk about and talk about
another
another one.
episode. Yeah. But obviously, so meeting you guys through Sydney Virtual Assistants, through Women with Altitude, other people I've met through Freelance Jungle, which is another network. Because I jockey between the term freelancer versus virtual assistant.
Yes.
Like it's that, you know, solo
You need to. It
person.
depends your audience, doesn't it?
And what they
you're
understand.
thinking,
Yeah. And it's just, you just have to get in the weeds of it. That's the other thing. You just have to.
Yep.
Can I also just put it out there though, like anyone that runs their own business is going to have a day where you're so far down in the dumps and you want to throw the towel in and just go, fuck all this shit.
Yep.
I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. You know, we all have days like that.
Yep.
We all have weeks like that.
Yeah.
We all have months like that. You know, it's a very normal thing for business, and it's a very hard thing, and that's where, you know, the community piece comes into play. And that's why we also, you know, have our podcast, because it's part of the conversation that we want to have.
Because we know there's not enough of that out there.
Yeah, and that those that are starting business, I will very happily put my hand up and say especially this year, my mental health's been really fucked. I'm very, very rocky and not great, and it's been a work in progress for me to just stay at like a base level. And like that's not easy, and it's hard because, you know, I mean, again, the conversations Chris and I've been having the last day or two were around, you know, I'm like, I'll just quit everything and work full time in my business. That's great, you know. But I also didn't marry a millionaire, and finances are a huge game changing piece for me, and completely determine what I can and can't do. And then that leads to feelings of being trapped and not being able to do what I love and do fully, and have to deal with bullshit that comes with other stuff.
But it's the courage to have the mindset that you're working towards something.
Yes.
Which goes hand in hand with the mental with the mental health. It's not a one fix. You're not ever going to be like this. It's going to, well, this is great for the audio version of the podcast, but you'll have your ebbs and your flows.
You will, totally. And it's all working towards a piece, and there's, you know, it's 2 steps forward and sometimes 1 back and sometimes 3 back. But it essentially, it is all going in a forward direction. There's just some days that, oh shit, I stumbled sideways today and everything.
You know, as they say, the carousel keeps on turning. And that's the same with life as it is with business. You know, Chris and I have managed to achieve significantly more than we ever expected in the almost 2 years we've been Juniper Road. And like, and I'm like, I would have just been happy to just be making some money. Like, you know,
but you've got
taken,
you've got office.
But we've also chosen to take some risks and trust our guts and, you know, have a go and see what happens. And that's the important part. And I think, you know, you're going to have blocks and barriers no matter where you are and what you do. People will never always agree with you. People will never think that what you're doing is the right thing, even though they don't get to have a say in that. And
but trust your gut, because because you have to do a balance of all the people you get the opinions of for certain thing or of anything. If you go canvassing for opinions and everyone has an opinion and you might not agree with it, but if you just use that to help make sure that you're making your own decision with the best knowledge.
And you don't want it to affect your self-worth and your self-value. And also, because I know, like, I admire in you your, what did you call it?
My ego, my massive ego. Yeah.
Because I think, like, you know, in the last few years have had a couple of circumstances which have really shook my own confidence in my own skill set and constantly make me second guess everything. And, you know, I'm kind of, and that I find that happens more and more when my mental health isn't great. I will second guess everything I do. And I love being around your energy of that, because it's like I'll feed off that a little bit and be like,
you can have it all. You can have it. I think because the cats don't always want that energy that I take home.
But it's also
or
like
the husband or Daniel.
I know. But I think that's like important too, to be around people like that when you're not in a great place either.
Absolutely.
To try and help fill your cup back up.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's a really crappy thing. And I know Chris and I have a bit of a juggle sometimes too. It's crappy when we're both in a bad place at the same time, because that's really hard. But I mean, having each other to kind of pick it up when we need to is good. But I know that, like, I feel like I'm the kind of human being that people feed a lot off how I feel. So like a lot of people have been around me have been like, oh, listening to you get angry about something really kind of gave me the oomph to go and do this or that.
Oh my God, yesterday you're like, fuck
she
Wix.
was full on rage.
I'm learning
yesterday.
Squarespace, and now we built 2 Squarespace websites in that time. It's
I'm
like,
a mad fucking rage person.
I know.
Yeah. So I fed off that energy as well.
But I also worry that because I know I'm rageful.
That's why I love you.
I house a lot of anger.
It's called passion, baby.
Sure, let's turn
Take
it that
the
way.
male. Sorry, men over there.
But I also worry that I can negatively influence people that way too. Like I don't like. I worry that there's a fine line between.
It's not up to them. It's not up to you. Sorry.
I know it's everyone interprets in their own way. But
I say this is a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
Like
and yes,
I put it on me to make everyone else feel like they're okay with how I'm behaving, and over years of therapy and years of, you know, fucked upbringing.
Yep.
And just, you know, finally at the age of 46 and a half, finally getting somewhere.
Yep.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm still the person who
love
counts
that
half
you
ages.
just said half.
because it's
so
my
great.
it's my small way of telling myself that I'm still not old.
Sometimes you just want
You're
to.
only as
And I
old
don't want to
as
grow up.
Yeah.
what they say, whoever you're
Uh-huh.
feeling, but sometimes that works backwards for girls.
Or as Prince always says, act your age, not your shoe size. I do the opposite.
Yeah.
Your shoe size, not your age. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That
I would
works.
rather act my shoe size.
Yeah, I'm a
That's
wide
absolutely
8.
for sure.
Oh my God, amazing.
Love
I'm a
it.
wide 10.
Oh God.
And Chris is like a wide 11
Wide
or 12.
I was
Oh
gonna
my
say
God, I'm thinking
wide
I'm a
calf
12 to be
ankle
more
boot.
comfortable.
Mm.
God, it's ridiculous.
It's not about the size, it's the magic that you wave.
That is so true, and I'm going to
Exactly.
take that and own that completely.
Yes.
So thinking about, like, we talked about the people in our lives, personally, work-wise, who might bring us down or who bump us up and hold us up and everything like that. I was thinking about a work practice that can benefit mental health. So I've changed how I do something this week.
So proud of this. So proud.
Yes, and it's actually had quite a monumental, immediate impact, like a positive impact. So I am traditionally a time blocker. So I've got a client who I need to complete X amount of work in X amount of hours across a week. Somebody else to do that. Then I've got work I need to do for clients. And so for me, I've always been it's work, therefore it requires time, therefore it needs to be in my diary.
Yep.
But then something comes up. So it could be the third podcast recording for the week.
Yeah.
Or, I
have to take Hurley to the vet.
I've got to take Hurley somewhere, and I do now. Or, oh my God, I actually need to walk myself for mental health and physical health and all of that. Anyway, so this week I cleared out my entire diary of time blocking and just left the stuff that was a commitment.
Yep.
And
how's that making you feel so far, Chris?
immediately to look at my half-empty diary was so just a weight lifted off me.
I was expecting it to be the opposite.
Well, yes, I think there was that feel of panic of I wasn't going to do the work.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I did the work and more.
That's what I keep saying to Chris. Like, she knows she knows what she needs to do. Like, we know because we live and breathe it constantly. Like, it's not like it's like, oh, I forgot a whole client.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
this is what
she
Asana and
knows.
ClickUp and
Exactly.
Yeah,
and we've
absolutely. And I've
lent
got
heavily into some of that more as well.
got the tool, but my head said I needed to block it out in a diary because it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm only going to give you 2 hours today. Now I'll move on to
But that
somebody
piece
else.
in your head is also then telling you that you haven't done it.
That is so true.
And that's
you're
where the
right.
stress comes from.
And the offshoot of that is that I would get something in and go, where the hell am I going to move this 2-hour work I need to do? Oh, yeah, the night time's empty.
Have you done less work at night?
I've done no work at night this week.
That's fucking
great.
Which is a miracle in itself. And I've been to bed by 10 o'clock, two
Dude,
nights in a
really?
row. I
Yeah.
have.
Okay,
The work
listeners,
is
Chris
still
doesn't go to
there.
bed till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then she gets up at 5.
Yeah. And I'm finding that hard to do. You know,
I don't know how you do it.
No.
well,
I'm not
I
functional
don't know, it's
before
more
8
like
o'clock.
6 now. But anyway, but it's a work practice that has, I feel, had quite an immediate positive, but
Yeah, I mean, it's
huge
interesting, right?
positive.
I was when she said it to me, I was like, this is either going to go one or two ways.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which way it
Yeah.
was going to go.
I don't want to be the pessimist, but yeah, I really thought you were going to be like, nah, can't do
No.
it.
So what will be interesting is when I get to Sunday, because my big thing, I know it, is my negative self-talk thing that I'm hung up on and have been too long, is I get to Sunday and I've always never worked on a Saturday, right? That's family work, you know.
Right, yep.
But on a Sunday, I've always tried to start my working week to get ahead of the game.
Yep. It's
And
the best
then-
feeling when you can wake up on Monday and know you've got those emails
Sometimes it is,
out
and I
already.
like drafting to delay send.
I'm that person that wakes up on Monday and I sit there till
Yeah.
like 10 o'clock being like, what the fuck am I supposed to be
Yeah.
doing right now?
Yeah.
I better sit down and work out my list again.
Well, see, I'm the person but I didn't get to my desk till late because life is busy.
Yeah.
And I do actually want to have a day rest sometimes.
Really?
And so I would get to work at 6 o'clock And then I'd be doing the midnight thing again to have my emails delay sent from 8 o'clock the following morning, but I'd still have the alarm go off at 6 a.m. So I was totally fucking up my brain and my body, and I have been, and I need to repair it big time. And I know that this is the start, but it's just interesting, like, you know, anyone listening, like, has anybody made any changes in their work practice that has actually helped with their mental health?
Yeah.
Because it seriously has
And
been
it's
a
those
huge
small
change.
things.
It was,
Like yours is big.
Mine's big, but it was a small change, but it's a
be-
big change.
Well, I was comparing. You were asking the other day on our group chat. Who else is trying something a bit different? And I was like, I'm using a new keyboard shortcut in Audition. Like, and it's the most minor
big
thing.
for you though, because that anything that improves your efficiency the slightest
Oh
bit
yeah,
is gold.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
and it clears your mental health. And for me, I've been trying to go for a walk every day.
Yeah, which has been great.
And I feel better for it, and I sleep better for it. And
oh fuck, really? Does that mean I have to start doing it?
I mean,
potentially sleep's pretty good for us.
As I walk, it's like the longest half an hour of my
boring,
life. And as I'm walking, I'm like, my legs hurt, this hurt. I'm not good at like
This
that
is why I
kind of
used to like
stuff.
going swimming, because I'd focus on not drowning, and then I couldn't think.
I'm forcing Chris to get a gym membership back so we can swim at least once a week, because the gym's just around the corner from the
It's
house.
it's not really going to be a big force, because, you know, I made a decision to drop it because I wasn't using it enough, and I don't like just, you know, opening my wallet and throwing out the virtual
pissing
cash
into the wind, literally.
So, but it hasn't been as a positive change.
Yep.
Because I'm not getting the exercise I need.
Yeah.
And swimming, I love swimming. And swimming is just the best exercise, low impact.
Yeah.
On this
Good cardio.
Muscle.
So I did a walk this week, and because I have my Apple Watch doing the fitness thing.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, for everyone listening, I'm still dealing with trying to get rid of pneumonia, so my breathing is not great, and I'm coughing heaps, which puts more pressure on your heart when you can't breathe. My watch told me, it came up with a health alert, poor cardio fitness. I was like,
off, Siri.
Fucking hell, thank you.
If I wanted your opinion, I'd
I'm
give it to
aware.
you.
I was like, I know this, thanks.
Jesus.
I just can't fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's fine. But it's, you know, little things like that are so important, because they're also endorphin boosting, and they're just little changes to make it
I know, right?
easier. And I think, you know, I feel like every year, everyone you ask has had like, oh, it's been a fucking rough year.
Yeah.
It's been happening since COVID. And I think it's amazed me how it hasn't changed. Like everyone's had something every year that's made it a really rough year.
Yep.
And, you know, for me, my grandfather passed away over Easter, and I know my mental health state is because of losing him.
Yep.
And like, it's something that I'll take a long time to get back to not being shitty with. And that's like been a fucking rough year because of that.
Yep.
And it's just amazing. Like, and I'm the kind of person, I bury my head in work. I don't openly show emotions very well.
Not noticed at all.
I'll be sarcastic and angry. It's not all you get out of me.
Yep.
But I don't do the open emotions thing very well. And so I just bury my head. I'm a massive avoider.
Yep.
So I will bury myself. That's why I fucking rage build websites in a day. Because I will just, that's my avoidance technique.
Yep.
But it's also like, it ricochet affects things, because then it triggers me. I get very triggered with other things.
Yeah.
And it's not always the best thing either. But I had this like moment over my last weekend, surrounded by family, which, you know, everyone's got family shit, let's all be honest. And I was very much like, not good. And I kind of, you know, it's that generational piece as well. We've all talked about before, the generational trauma. And I kind of had that moment of looking at my daughter and being like, no, it's got to stop, hey?
Yep.
Like, this is just actually absolutely got to stop. And I need to get my shit together to stop it from being put on her.
Yeah.
And it's not like, she does not deserve any of this. And I need to get my shit together. I need to get my head together. I need to get all of it together, but I also need to get myself physically together and in a position that I can be better for them.
Absolutely. So your kids deserve better. You deserve better.
Yeah, but I've kind of written that off because I'm not going to get better. Like, I know my issues that I have where my family trauma has come, it's not going to get fixed.
No,
No,
but
it's not.
You will get benefit, and what we're
You-
turning better in, I'm doing quote, action here, better by doing better for your children.
Yep.
And that will actually feed into you being better.
And it will happen without you even trying.
Yeah.
Because it will. Yeah. Sorry, this is actually turning into a therapy session.
Mm.
So
We're trying to connect the dots with what you guys are saying.
So in terms of resolving or,
advanced silence pause.
Yeah, sorry, yes. I'll cut that pause out. So I sound like I'm intelligent and not overthinking words. But working on yourself, even if it's just little bits chipping away, will mean that naturally, like me being like this didn't happen naturally.
No.
Like until even 4 years ago, I was not this person.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not anything the person I was. I've come
but
very big way in my life.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm fine. And it's just the raw loss that's kind of fucked me,
And also anger that you didn't get X relationship that looks as good as what other people have. There's all of that stuff as well.
There's lots of bits and pieces, and I have I say it tongue in cheek about having a lot of rage. I do have a lot of rage, and I do have a lot of things that have caused a lot of that rage, and I have a lot of what did I say? What did I call it this morning? Passive aggressive humans in my life that like to talk around the problem and completely ignore the elephant in said room.
Surrounded by that, grew up around that.
Yes, and me too. And I fucking hate it with a fiery passion. And so there's elements of that I know I need to do the work to let go of expectation for that in those relationships.
Or the thing that I found really helpful is seeing all of that shit as like leaves on a creek,
and letting it
and
flow away.
it just goes.
Yeah, an old boss of mine said once, we were talking about,
and you're not letting go
like,
of it. It's still there. It's just down the stream.
Yeah.
Well, an old boss of mine, we were talking about this a while ago, and she said that like she had a very, up and down relationship with her mum.
Yeah.
And it was it was very rocky at best. But then she said her mum got really severe. I think she had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
She said it was the weirdest thing because it was like it erased everything.
Yeah.
Like it was like and her dad had passed already, so it was only her mum left. Was the only other person that remembered the state of this relationship.
Yeah.
But it was like hit and reset.
Yep.
And she said it was like weird because it took her a long time to work through her stuff and kind of come to terms with the fact that it's a blank slate now.
Yeah.
And she's like, it was a weird thing. She's like, but if you think about it like that, like it's just dust, smoke, it blows away. And you like, it's again, the carousel keeps on turning.
Dust will blow away, but it'll come back.
Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes it's that thick dust that you cannot wipe away, no matter how hard you try. But
I mean, I'm in the dust is back section of my life right now. But it's, and it's stuff that I'm usually fine with. I like to think I'm fairly self-aware and can pick up on that. And I know that. And I've also been training my husband to know that. Like he's not particularly emotionally intelligent in the slightest, but he, I've said to him a few, like even
I would say not emotionally aware.
Oh no, he's got no.
Like
he doesn't read the room very well sometimes, but he. God love him.
Yeah.
But we're at the point where I'm very blunt, being like, I'm not okay right now. I'm not going to be a nice person.
Yep.
Like I'm very sorry because I'm going to be a dickhead.
Yep.
And I'll do my best to rein it in, but I need you to have patience with me.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, oh, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So like we're at that point where that is quite nice. Like it's taken us a long time to get to that point too, but it's also, it's hard with the kids as well because my fuse is short. And then I get these.
Every mum I know has a short fuse.
And
every dad, like
and then
kids are assholes.
And then I feel bad because my daughter is such a mummy's girl, and she just wants to make me feel better. And it's like I don't want to put that on her.
Yeah.
Like I had enough of that in my own growing up. I don't want. That's not her responsibility. And I kind of had that moment over the weekend of being like, I'm not going to let it be. And it's like. Okay. Yeah. Get my shit together. And then I came back with a fucking head cold. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Working through that one.
Yes.
But it's also, I think why, Chris and I have a piece that we do through Juniper Road, which is our social awareness piece. And it's also, so mental health is something that I have struggled with my entire life. Definitely have anxiety, have definitely been on and off medicated for depression. and deal with it regularly. Anyone that has anything, which let's be honest, everyone's got something right now, knows the game that is. But so the month of September is LipTember, which is women's mental health support. LipTember being, it's all about, show your support by wearing bright lipstick and to raise awareness and the conversation about women's mental health.
Yep.
Not that mental health for everyone, men or women, is not important, but this is specifically about women's mental health.
Yep.
Chris and I and Jennifer Road are a women-led business,
Absolutely.
as you are a women-led business,
Yep.
and our podcast is obviously the women in business.
Yep.
So, mental health is really important. So we thought this was a good timing conversation to talk about LipTember. And the fact that Juniper Road has a fundraising page that we've got live. We're getting our team members, whoever would like to join our team to help raise as much money as we can for LipTember.
And it's a good excuse to try some colourful lippy.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. And we've been working on, I say this loosely because we haven't quite brainstormed it yet. We're about to start working on.
I believe this is a brainstorming process.
We're brainstorming progress. We will have
part of the session.
bits and pieces that we run throughout the month to try and encourage conversation about that as well. So if anyone is interested, it's also tax write-offable if you donate.
Yes. We'll put the links in the show notes.
Yeah, it's going to be all over our website and stuff as well. So.
Yeah. But I think my brain just stopped, didn't it? Yes.
No.
Well, do you want me to keep going about Are You Okay Day?
Well, it's just, to me, it's really solidified. Like, I knew this in the back of my mind, but this convo today has really solidified the whole personal mental health is also work mental health.
It's all in the same.
Yeah.
Because it affects your ability to function.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll have days
and bring
where,
out your best in your business.
Yeah, and I've had days when I've worked for a corporate office where I haven't been physically sick, but the thought of doing anything or speaking to anyone makes me want to, bury my head in the sand and just never come back out again.
Yep.
And, it's really hard to get up and go into an office when the thought of, showering and washing your hair is too much.
Yep.
Like, it's a really hard thing, and
those
might
things
not
can be
have to
so
do with
fucking hard
work.
for people.
Yep. Yeah, but it's not to do with work, but it's just what's going on with your life.
Yep.
And it's also the juggle, like when you've got so much shit happening at home, it's really hard to not let it affect your ability to work.
Yep.
And and there's not enough allowance for that, I think, in the workplaces. There's not enough allowance for people to just have a fucking mental health day.
Yep.
And be allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to do on a mental health day.
Yep.
I was crucified in a previous job for going to a networking event on a sick day that I took. My own personal sick day, which I can do what I want with. I went to a networking event in the afternoon of the sick day. Someone found out about it and sent a picture of me to my boss. God knows how. This is a whole nother story, and I think I've touched on it already in another episode. And then I got absolutely crucified because apparently it's his right to control what I do on my own sick days. A legitimate
Side note,
sick
coercive
day.
control now illegal in New South Wales.
Fucking massively.
Yeah.
I clearly quit that job.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, this is where people who are still employed at least in a small business, they can access the EAP, so the Employee Assistance Program.
Most important.
But can I also caveat that too? So, like, in one of my previous jobs for a very big corporation, I was had a situation too with I seem to have had a lot of bad managers, but I had a situation with a manager where I was in a role. My boss had changed to someone else. I had this guy come in who was a fucking piece of shit. He was like,
Don't hold back.
No, this guy was like, if I had a kill list, he'd be on my list.
Yeah.
And like the moment I met him, he wouldn't stop staring at my boobs.
Oh, gross.
And then he realized that I'd been carrying my job and his job for the last 2 months until they recruited him. So he just let me keep doing everything, but then would cut me out when it felt like it was convenient to him.
Yep.
And it was just, he was a dick. And at that same point in time, I was really not okay mentally. There was a lot of stuff going on at home. I ended up I just was bad. I had days where I walked out I remember very clearly, my husband had gone to work. I was walking out to the car. It was pissing down with rain. I didn't have an umbrella. I was getting soaked. I tripped and fell and just lay there sobbing.
Yep. Yeah, I've done stuff.
And then I got into the car and just sobbed. And I called my mum, and my mum's like, just go inside. Just don't go to work.
Yep.
And then I had my department head, like a few weeks later, pull me aside and be like, I'd raised and was so transparent that I wasn't happy with this boss, that, things were not going very well. He pulled me aside and was like, what's going on? and was like, your performance has been terrible. And I was like, I'm the only one doing the work. And I was like, just because I'm not my peppy, happy self, you don't get to tell me that my performance is bad. Like, and then I ended up being like, so I've got this stuff going on in my personal life. I'm now medicated for depression. Oh, well, that makes sense now. I just thought you were acting like a spoilt brat.
Pay attention. Oh, Jesus Christ.
He literally said to me, I just thought you were acting like a spoilt brat.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? I didn't obviously say that. I was too gobsmacked by that comment. And I was like, it is none of your business what's going on with me.
Yeah.
You could have just come and said, hey, is everything okay?
Yep.
You're not your usual self.
No,
you know?
instead of
a bit off your game.
and yet again being ambushed in a fucking meeting.
Yeah.
And I was and I basically said to him, like, I laid it all out and I said to him, this is my personal stuff. I shouldn't have to tell you this kind of thing. And then I ended up saying to him, move me away from him or I will hand you my resignation right now.
Yeah.
Thankfully he did.
Yeah.
But, you know, the audacity that people have being like, oh, I just thought you were being a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, and this is where we've spoken about, and I think our management leadership one we talked about was the transparency and communication when you manage people.
Yeah.
Just be real and like understand that shit happens.
Yeah.
People are allowed to have bad days. They're allowed to have good days.
Yeah. You can't just turn it on and turn it off.
No.
And if you just can't do it, you can't do it. And if someone's got a lot of heavy stuff going on at home, work with them to find a way to make it work.
Yep.
Don't just crucify the fuck out of them
And
for
this is what's
being
always-
not okay.
Yeah, and this is what's always pissed me off about parents, because even though I'm not a parent, I know how fucking hard it is.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen enough of it to get it. That work is your second job. By the time you turn up to the office, you've already done hours.
It's exhausting, yeah.
Well, that was the thing. Like, my alarm used to go off at 5:15.
Yeah.
So I could be ready by the time I got the child up and whatever. And unfortunately, my husband felt the need to not get up when I was home on mat leave, and then never got up to manage a child when I went back to work when my kid was 11 months old. So I've always been the main carer. So to get ahead of the game and to be ready when I did have a corporate life, and even after all these years owning my own business, I still need to be responsible, even though Mr. 17 is quite capable. Obviously 17 and capable. But you know, it's fucking bloody hard.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes I struggle with the mental health thing, and it's not actually it's not directly my mental health. It's just that my husband has anxiety and depression and takes to bed or doesn't get up out of bed. Yeah. And that is very difficult. I want to touch on that, to
be honest.
That is very difficult. So I've got to be very mindful of myself in that reaction, because there is part of me that goes, I have to soldier on.
Yeah.
I have to just get up and do it.
But
why
I feel
can't
like
you?
This is just a men thing, but like I'm going to be a bit of a man hater right now, but I feel like men so quickly weaponize their mental health and victimize themselves with it. But you never see a woman, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure women do it as well. But, you know, I have had a similar argument with my brother as well, being like, oh, I just can't. I'm like, I have two fucking humans that rely on me. If I just can't, they're not getting fed.
Yeah.
No.
They're not like, you know, I can't because it's not about me anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I have to put my shit aside to be an adult and to be a parent.
Yep.
I don't get to not be okay because they need me to be okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't just not feel like it today.
And it's like you really need to stop reveling in it, because just going to bed is reveling in it.
Yep.
You know, you're just giving into it.
Yep.
And I'm all for, like, I'm very, very sympathetic for people that have mental health issues, I clearly said that I'm not great either, but you need to at least try to do better.
Yeah, and sometimes
if you're not trying, then what the fuck are you doing?
I feel like I can't voice this feeling around it because I don't want to be seen as being a non-believer about the importance of mental health.
But you're also allowed to resent that behavior.
And I do. I really do. It's depressing.
Because you're also in a partnership, like a marriage is a partnership, and it should be a two-way street.
Well, I am, and this is very big of me to talk about in a public forum here, But my husband doesn't listen to these podcasts, and probably because he says he's not a woman in business.
Doesn't have the right hardware.
No, doesn't have the right
Not the target
equipment
audience.
and stuff like that. But I am a single married mother.
Yep.
Don't worry, there's a lot of them out there.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
And
there are many husbands who are tits
I
on a ball.
have to pull. I want it. Sometimes I wouldn't mind having a lie around in bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, my back doesn't allow me to lie for very long in bed, but and there are days that I get up and I might couch potato on the very odd occasion, and I should have, again, that should have done a whole shitload of stuff.
You've also taught yourself to feel guilty for that too.
Oh, I have, absolutely.
And
but
you
that's
shouldn't need
also
to.
my upbringing too.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm going to put a link to a book in the show notes about the wife drought.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The stats do say that the happiest people on earth are married men. The unhappiest.
That's not true. I don't know what the fuck is.
Lucky man.
The unhappiest people on earth are married women. The and of course married men live longer than unmarried men, and married women die before unmarried women.
Yeah, right.
So
the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast is now starting a women's commune.
Yeah.
Where we're all going to live happily ever after, and men can just go fuck off.
So yes.
Registration's available in our website.
That's right.
And quick, build a website.
So the whole thing about mental health and is you've got to take care of your own mental health.
Yep.
Because you can't, obviously for very obvious reasons you need to, but you cannot. You've got to do your best not to impact on the others around you and impact on their mental health.
It's like the plain thing of put the oxygen on yourself before your kid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, you can't function if you can't function. What's the ricochet effect of everything around you that will fall from that?
Exactly.
And it's Chris and I, again, back to the exercise part. We're talking about. I really want to go and do Pilates because I really want to get.
I need to get
my
back
core's
into that.
fucked. I want to stretch all of that stuff. It's going to be really good if I do it. But I've always been like, oh God, I can't sacrifice that time in my calendar.
Yeah.
And I'm also limited with school drop off and pick up, which makes me feel like I don't get enough done.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Chris this week that I'm at this point now where I'm like, I actually don't care anymore. This needs to be my priority.
Absolutely.
I need to make time for this and not actually feel guilt myself into it or feel bad that I'm doing it and stop. I need to commit to it and I need to make that a priority.
And I think the way that you can probably I'm very capable. My special skill really is turning something into being a positive, make it work.
Yes.
It's also why
you want to smoke cigarettes? Yeah, great.
Yeah. Make it good for your health.
Let's not talk about the lung cancer. Let's talk about the dopamine.
Look at the good stuff.
Yeah. But you will find that by doing, doing the Pilates or going for the walk or getting back and doing laps at the pool, you will be doing more when you're not there.
Totally.
Well, that improves your efficiency because you've got the dopamine hit.
Yep.
You're also hopefully sleeping better, which means your quality is better.
Excuse
you're
me
not so
while
tired.
I write this down to remind myself when I'm avoiding going for a walk.
Yeah, no.
But it's also that thing about it just makes you feel better and be able to handle the shit that goes on every day. And for me, for example, if I do know that I've gone for a walk, and I feel so much better that, I can come home and I can deal with.
I mean, let's be honest. We walked from the car park up 7,000 fucking stairs to get here.
Wasn't that many, but
I think that counts as our exercise.
Oh yeah, totes. Excuse me, I'm recovering from a broken ankle. Let's just call that my exercise.
That was a solid effort.
But I think, we're always going to be a work in progress.
It is, and I think, we will touch on more on the community piece, but I know that, like you said, it's the people around you that also really help, and I know. I'm one of those people that if I'm in a really filthy mood, I try to not be around people. But in reality, I actually need to be around people because when I finally do it or I can't, if I have a meeting that I can't just not do, I actually am better afterwards because it does help me shake it off a bit. But I also, because I worry that I'll, I used to always feel like, in my house, if someone was in a bad mood, the rest of the house was dictated by that. And I don't want to be that person, so I try and avoid people.
Child of a dysfunctional family, baby.
Yeah, and it's just it's funny. The people around you are really important, and I think it's also, especially when it comes to anxiety. We were talking about a beautiful friend of ours today, how proud we were to see her speak up in a public space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like I'm so proud, and just having a little cheerleader group behind you, fucking makes a world of difference.
And I think the whole community group, having mates who you can talk to.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is as well.
It is. It really, really
Like,
is.
I think,
We've
like,
been,
honestly, the conversations we have, fucking
Yeah.
great. Like, and I
But
get to
also
see you guys more.
we've had such beautiful messages that have come
Yeah.
through as
Yes.
well.
Yep.
And,
The voice notes, oh
I
my
actually want to
God,
read
yeah.
one. Like, can we
Yeah.
read one?
Yeah.
And we had so many beautiful messages of people that have been so excited to hear us. And, there was this one message that came through our Instagram page a few weeks ago that was just, I was fucking ecstatic when I saw this because it was just so exciting. It was from
Was it Cassandra?
The Different Darling.
Oh, which one's that?
I don't know if you
We'll
see
cut that
this.
one
So
out. Oh, do you
this
mean The
is-
Different Darling?
The Different Darling, Weddings and Events. So this is from a beautiful business called The Different Darling, Wedding and Events, based up in Newcastle. So shout out if you hear us talking about you. So and I'm going to share this, and I'll keep it brief because I don't want to make anyone embarrassed. But she basically just wanted to reach out to us and say that we literally made her cry in a good way. She started her business in March of this year, and lately have been feeling so overwhelmed and thought this is what I wanted to do for so long. And she was randomly Googling women's business women's pod networking groups and stumbled across our event in September, which led her to the podcast. She binged all the episodes she could in the day, and then she said it left her feeling strong, capable, and reassured that she's still on the right track and that she is not alone. And I think that's I read that and just was like, this is fucking why I wanted to do this.
This is why we are here and talking.
And if
to try and plug some of that gap.
Oh yeah, and just
absolutely,
you are not alone. Like, everything you're going through, we've all been through. We've all been there, and we wanted to bring to attention a lot of this stuff as well, and just so you don't have to, if you haven't got time to be around people, you can listen to our rambles and go, yeah, right. You didn't think we're lunatics, or go, fuck, there. I feel better for this, and I really feel like we've been getting a lot of those kind of messages, and I think that's really lovely, and it kind of makes it worth it.
It's not why we've done it, but it's
exactly.
definitely filling our cup. And I think that is a fucking stunning way
to end an
to
episode.
finish an episode.
Absolutely is.
Always love talking to you too.
Me too. I like talking to you.
We're awesome.
We are.
Just quietly. It says my little ego coming out to play again.
No, but we're in this gorgeous,
Yes.
comfortable space
Do you wanna,
today.
We've even got the rug, and
we should probably thank and shout out this beautiful location.
Thank you, DM.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll put any links, all the stuff that we've talked about, we'll put links in the show notes. And we've got a link in the show notes now that you can send us a text, send us a message that'll come straight to us in the podcast. So if you've got anything you wanted to share, violent reactions or feelings or tearful moments,
please.
we'd love to hear them, because
I love a good violent reaction.
yes, so many violent reactions. And so thanks for joining us. Thank you, ladies.
Woohoo.
Love your work.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
And we'll talk to you very, very soon.
Peace
Brilliant.
out, homies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Woo.
Bye.